Evening all, welcome to our first ever Live at 7 studio show from the Michelin MX Nationals powered by Milwaukee on MXN TV. We're here at Fat Cat Motor Park for round one. I've managed to get a guest in for our first ever show. May I introduce? Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for letting me on the show.
Well, you know, we thought get you in because you've got a story to tell. We're going to go straight into what you've been doing in the off season. So basically, for your first time ever, you've been to America to actually ride and train. So tell us a little bit about which side did you go?
We was in Florida for just over 6 weeks in total. It was, yeah.
So you know, for you that's never been, how did you find the whole experience? What is culturally different from, you know, did it live up to your expectations? You know, the weather, everything. How was it?
Yeah, it was definitely lived up to my expectations. Yeah, we got to ride some pretty cool places at the 83 compound, also rat trays. We did a couple of races over there, so we did like Gatorback and a few other quite known tracks that are over there that like, because Gatorback does Mini-O's, I think it's Mini-O's?
That's right, yeah, it does.
Yeah, so the tracks were pretty cool, and there was actually quite a variety over there. A lot of people say, oh, America, it's hard pack, like all the Americans just ride hard pack all the time, but Florida's actually quite sandy. There's a few tracks, there's a couple, well there's one public track called Skytop, which actually wasn't too...
that's a cool place, I've been there.
Yeah, it's, I don't think it was public until maybe a year ago or so, but that place actually, if they could leave that rough, it would be like Eindhoven in Holland.
That is such a European thing to say, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like, leave the tracks rough, because, you know, they're incredibly fast in America, but they do like sprint races. So, you know, that's where it brings out that whole argument about European riders against USA when it comes outdoors. There's you going over there wanting brutality, but they kind of make them relatively flat and
that's the side
fast.
that kind of, I'd say, lets them down. We did a couple races, which was like the Florida Winter Series or something like that. But they had some cool, like some quick kids there. But the races are, I think, I did one class which was 4 laps, and then the second class I went in, which was 450A. It was 6 laps. Like, it was over before I even got going, and that's, I think, apparently Mini-O's, when you get to that, I think they do 20-minute races, but that, I think there's not very many when you're an amateur or the schoolboys. The races aren't very long.
It is a completely different environment. They have loads more races crammed in a day shorter. But then there's an argument, which you probably found out, and this probably helped you, and this, I don't take this the wrong way.
I know what you're going to say.
You know what I'm going to say. You know, like, those first few laps have never been your strong point. You kind of get into it and then you come good towards the end of the race. So I'm guessing doing those races in Florida is actually a good thing for you, because you know you're used to pounding out loads of motos in the winter over here in cold weather, the grime or whatever. So to go over there and just work on your raw speed must have been beneficial.
Yeah, I remember the first race we did it. The very first race, I went off at Gatorback and they just, it was carnage. And it was just like kids just going mental for 3 laps, and I was just like, oh my god, it's like they're just going mental. And then the lap later, like their last lap, they're just done. And then I just started to get going. But that is one thing, actually, it did really help me, because last week at the British, my first few laps were so much better. And then, I think over there the tracks could be left a bit rougher, like that Skytop I said. They graded it like every day. I know they only lightly brush over the top, but they do flatten it, and it does take a little bit to get back in, which I think if they left it like every 2 or 3 days, then it would make it much better in training over there. Because you still got, there was like Evan Ferry and people like that was practicing over there. We've seen him at that Skytop quite a lot. So the fast people are riding the public tracks like Skytop. I just think they could do with leaving the tracks a little bit sometimes.
But for an off season and for you to do, you know, also it's not just the tracks bringing speed up. It must have been beneficial when it comes to physical training. I mean, obviously it's quite humid in Florida.
Yeah,
everybody knows that. It's a good place to go and train for that.
It was actually,
and you can get out on your road bike, and you can plan your day, right?
Yeah, it was. To start with, it wasn't the hottest. It was sort of about 20 through the day.
Oh, boo-hoo.
Yeah, it's a lot warmer than over here. And then after sort of 2 weeks, it kind of started to warm up, and some of the days was riding, it was about 32 degrees. And that's another thing that's helped me, because I've never been very good in the heat, because I'm always used to over here.
Cornwall's lovely. It's like in the south.
Yeah. So that. Two things that I've taken from there is my early laps, and the heat has definitely helped me. And you don't have to worry so much about the rain, like to go riding. You can plan your weeks, and because we was over there for 6 weeks, we sort of rode roughly about 4 days, and then either trained or day off if we was feeling tired or what. So to go over there for the long period, I think that also helped as well. Just you getting a rhythm and everything over there, and it's just it's cool over there.
What about team bonding? What was the arrangement? Did you share rooms with people? How much can you tolerate? The obviously you
6 weeks with Charlie.
Yeah, you took the words out of my mouth. Yeah, how was that?
No, it was really good. For the most of the time, it was me, Charlie, and Flo that stayed in our own apartment. And then the mechanic stayed somewhere else and did the bikes. It was. I'd definitely do it all over again. Charlie and Flo. Flo's English has got so good now, and it was such a good time. I kind of, the last week I was sort of almost a bit ready to come home, and then when I got home, I just wanted to go back out.
I can't think why his English got better. It wasn't like cruising the beaches, was it? Probably that, wasn't it? So what's your plan here on in then? The whole team, the SC Sports Home team. You've gone over there to train. Obviously, we all know the issue with your teammate, unfortunately not being able to ride and all that. So what's your plan? What are you going to go over and do more racing throughout the year, or are you just concentrating on the UK, on like the MX Nationals and obviously the Revo Championship?
The plan is we have to do the British Championship, and then the plan is to do as many AMA outdoors as possible.
Okay.
That's kind of why we went over there for 6 weeks, to kind of see what it's like over there, get to grips, and just see how it was really over there and get settled in. So the plan is to do as many of them as possible, because I think 2 clash with the British Championship, so
right.
We can't do the full series, but we can do as many as possible, which is.
And what's the deal with that? Are you surely you're not going to keep flying back and forth once you. I mean, you've got to for the ones you've got to come back to.
Yeah.
So then you're going to be living the American dream.
Yeah, it's close to. Yeah, it's we're going out. There's 3 back-to-backs to start with, so I guess we'll stay out there the whole time, and then from then on, sort of see how it goes with the British.
So you've looked at the schedule, no doubt you have. Which tracks are you kind of thinking, oh God, I can't believe I'm going to go and race there? Because you and I both know, growing up watching AMA motocross, we all do the whole, I'd love to ride there, I'd love to ride there. Which ones are you looking forward to the most?
Well, so far I've not looked at which ones exactly, because I wasn't sure on what ones we were going to be doing and stuff. But to start with, I definitely think Hangtown, because that seems quite a cool track. Parla I think is a bit of it is a practice track over there, and then they change it up for the race, so it doesn't look amazing. Don't get me wrong, it's still in America, but
it is.
Just how it all looks. It's not grassed over, is it? It's quite dry and
because you haven't been out to California.
No, I haven't been.
So you've only experienced Florida, a bit of greenery, but it's very different.
Yeah, but I'd say Hangtown looks quite cool.
But you kind of you've always been good on hardpack, so Hangtown would be a good one. Yeah. Obviously for you as well. I mean, I guess you haven't looked at the schedule like you said, so you don't know if you'll be able to do like Redbud and. I think there's a British on at Redbud, so I'm a bit. What? Joker.
Yeah, I'm a little bit gutted about that, but I'm not 100% sure. But I think there's a British on at that round.
But I mean, that's a great story, and as a team, that's a big thing for you guys. Obviously, you've got a lot of support in the UK through the team. You have as personal sponsors. How's that all gone down? You know, are they excited by the fact that there's a story to tell because it's an adventure?
I think like my personal sponsors as well have been. They're always, no matter pretty much what I do, they're always behind me. So okay, yeah, they're awesome really, and I think they're more excited about America than what I am when I
can't think
them.
why.
No.
Is it maybe because they might jump along and come along for the ride?
I think
it might be that.
Yeah.
Look, Josh, we wish you the best of luck with that. That's awesome. We're going to follow it, obviously, and you're going to be racing as many of the Michelin MX national rounds powered by Morky as you can. So that's brilliant. Best of luck with it, mate. Go and get ready for tomorrow's racing.
Cheers.
All the best. Ladies and gentlemen, that is Josh Gilbert, SC Sports Home, Husqvarna.
5.
We just spoke to Josh Gilbert, as you've seen. Now we're going to do a bit of an industry chat. Basically, we brought in Dylan Brown from Apico. Dylan, thanks for joining us on the show.
No, thanks for having me, Jeff.
I wanted to bring you in because, well, you do many things. Obviously, you know, Apico, which we all know is a massive brand within British motocross.
Yep.
But you still love to ride yourself. You can't switch that off. So in your wisdom, you've gone and started a race team, Apico Battery Racing.
Yeah.
And, you know, that seems to be going great. Obviously, it's evolving all the time. You've got a podium last week with J Law, which is brilliant.
Finally, yes, we did.
So how do you balance running, you know, the business and which is effectively a passion, a hobby? Do they go hand in hand, or do you have to kind of keep them separate?
No, I most definitely need to keep them separate. The race team could quite easily take over a lot of the time that we all have during the course of a week. So it needs to be very sensitive in terms of how much time we can give to the race team, because obviously the business needs to come first. But the race team itself was there's a bit of a backstory to it. Anna and I bought the business from the previous owners of Apico in 2014. Never really had any intentions of running our own British Championship motocross team. It was sort of...
Oh, I love that picture, doesn't it?
Yeah, it was... we'd owned the business only for a few months, and we were actually at the International Dirt Bike Show. And I had a conversation with Stuart Summers and Richard Clark in the canteen area there, and they said, we want to do this next year with Stephen Clark. Any chance you can help? And I just went, we can do something. That's no problem. Walked away and thought, I'll figure out how we do it, after the show. And that's pretty much how the team started, believe it or not. It was a 5-minute conversation in the canteen over
like a lot of good ideas, back of a fag packet,
it was sort of, we'll worry about it after sort of thing.
Yeah.
And we did really well with Stephen, and then Brian McKenzie joined the team, with BC and Stu Summers, and it was a snowball effect really. And we got into 2016, and there we are, almost won the British Championship, finished second and third overall. And the rest is history, really, and that's how the team started. So, yeah, it's an interesting backstory. And yeah, my passion for racing personally has been there for a long time. And once the momentum started with the team, I thought we can't let this go now.
I was going to say, was there any?
Let it go.
Yeah, was there a time where you thought this is?
There was a time actually.
Getting a bit too much?
Well, no, not so much too much. But we got to the end of 16 and Stephen decided that he wanted to go to the US, which we understood, and we also knew at that time that Brian was going to retire at the end of that season. So we went from a massive high to a real low, because all of a sudden we finished second and third, and now we've got no riders. But because of what we'd managed to achieve, I was really keen to keep the momentum of the team going, and here we are today. And like you say, last weekend, after a few years in the wilderness, so to speak, we've managed to put Jamie on the box for third overall,
brilliant.
which, and again, is a story in itself.
Two-stroke too. So that's awesome. Yeah. Obviously, you got your own hardware parts with Pico, whatever. So that must be beneficial in the fact that you can R&D with your own team.
We can, and that became very evident very early on that we're producing these products. And the team itself is a perfect platform for us to actually go out on track you know, try them, use them, abuse them, improve them, and you know, we've done that with a lot of stuff over the last few years. So it's been just from that side of things, been really good.
So what you don't have to answer this, but I'm going to answer it anyway.
Put me on the spot.
I am. So you know where you're at, like you said, you've come in, you nearly won championship straight away, and all that kind of stuff. What is your expectation as a team manager from where, you know? Obviously, I get you want to. Everybody wants to win. We know that.
Yeah.
But you know, where do you kind of see your guys in the grand scheme of things? What do you, not results wise, but what do you kind of expect from them as Apico brand ambassadors and the likes?
I just really want them to conduct themselves in a professional manner and showcase the products and the brands that we represent. That for me is really, really important. But I also want them to stay fit and healthy, enjoy what they're doing with not too much pressure, stress and strain, and we go on to the next race from there.
Yeah.
We're supported, you know, by a lot of the brands that we represent from the business side of things. So we have a responsibility, you know, to do a good job for those brands and products. But there is no pressure from my side of things on our riders, because ultimately we're a family team.
Yeah.
You know, I've come away to do this with you tonight, and all of our riders and team members and mechanics and family members are all sat under our awning eating dinner, and that is as much important as it is to actually go and do the racing for them.
That's what we do, right? It's what
It
you
is.
do, you know. You,
Yeah.
like I said, you still get out there, turn the wheels if you can and whatever.
Yeah, you know, we are a small family team, and we do what we do to represent the brands, but also to enjoy ourselves.
Yeah.
It's really, really important.
Have you already eaten tonight?
I
'Cause I'm
haven't,
not-
no.
So you better get going.
Steak pie and vegetables.
Your dinner's
and
getting
potatoes
cold.
And, yeah, it's
Dylan, thanks for joining us.
No,
I really
thank you,
appreciate it,
Jeff.
and good luck
Yes.
with a year ahead.
Thank you.
That's bang on.
Yeah.
So there you go. That's Dylan Brown, team owner of Apico Factory Racing. We'll be back up with another guest shortly. Okay, welcome back to Live at 7. Going to carry on the Apico theme now. We got Scott Cannon in. Now Scott, for Apico, for the brand and many others, does all the marketing. He's responsible. That's a big responsibility. Loads of brands you've got there, Scott.
Lots of brands, Jeff, as you well know. I've sponsored you since, I think, day one with
Yes,
Green.
you had, yeah. Polysport was one.
Polysport, yeah, one of many. Pro
Yeah.
Tape, you know, we could go on there, boys. And,
Yeah,
plenty.
it goes on, keeps you busy.
Yeah.
A good place to start is obviously Apico. You guys have been involved with the series now for a couple of years,
Yeah.
stepped it up this year, and you're now going to be the title sponsors of the Elite MX2. But also, you guys bring in Liat and distributor for Liat. That's big news to us, for you guys
Yeah.
coming in with the Elite MX1. So tell us more about that. I mean, that's big for us, for you guys to be involved.
Yeah, you know, we've all been impressed with what the MX Nationals did for Apico as a brand last year, and we see how that's been developing and how you guys have been stepping things up, and the coverage that we get, you know, we've been really happy with. I managed to sell the dream to Liat as well.
Well done. Well done.
Which is tough, Mr. King. But no. In all fairness, no. They are a great company, great to work with. They see the benefit and the advantages of working with the MX Nationals with the Liat brand, and they wanted to be on board. So you know, we'd like to think that this is, as we do with everything, a bit of longevity.
Yeah.
You know, we're not as Dylan would say. I forgot what he says now. I'm on the spot.
It's because he's working you too hard,
One shot
Scott.
in the arm. One shot in the arm. You know, it's not just a quick thing. We tend to stick with things for a while and support it, and that's what we plan to do really with Liat and Apico with the MX Nationals.
I've got a question for you. I'm going to ask you this. I'm going to put you a little bit on the spot. Running race teams, as you know, you've got to juggle certain things. In your line of work, you've got so many varying brands, you know, and to a degree, in some cases, you've got not rival brands, but kit brands and varying things.
Yeah,
that's a juggle, isn't it?
It is.
Like
Yeah,
keeping
it
all that
is.
in order, keeping
Definitely.
everybody happy.
Definitely.
I mean,
Definitely.
you must be on that blower an awful lot in the week.
Quite a lot, yeah. Between myself and Dylan, I think we're constantly talking to teams and riders and trying to get, you know, the best representation for our brands at the end of the day. And it's not just motocross. There's trials, there's enduro, you know, and we have good representation, what I'd say, across the off-road market really. with some of the best and top riders for our brand. So I'd like to think we do a good job.
Absolutely, 100%. So with all these brands, like you go forward, you promote them, you do what you do.
Yeah.
How do you then balance the whole thing of deciding what to put where, and more importantly, where is the sport at the minute? Because it seems to be thriving. In lockdown, it went crazy. Literally, people were buying. We're in a good place with the sport, right? Can you reassure me with that?
Oh well, going back to lockdown, after the initial furlough period, I was probably spending half my time in the warehouse because there was that many orders and that much to do, based upon the fact I think a lot of people weren't able to go on holiday. The disposable income was, maybe targeted amongst the hobbies. And there's a lot of tradesmen in the sport, and I think a lot of them like the bikes and like riding, and they had time to do the bikes up and things. So yeah, it was pretty hectic all through the summer. But we were lucky in that sense. It could have not been like that. But yeah, the whole industry. Just to give an example of how our industry works. And we all work together. The other day, our post machine had packed up at work, and I needed to get stickers to some trials riders because it's the British Trials Championship first round at Hutwood this weekend. I managed to get some stickers here through Martin Craven, onto then to Ben Hemingway through Stuart Edmonds initially, and we got the job done, and that's just one example of how the off-road community works together, and that's what we need to do, and that's what we want to do, is just work with people.
From your standpoint as a brand manager and do what you go, what have we got to do with the sport to elevate it? And I don't mean within what we do, I mean from a marketing and branding point of view. How are we going to keep progressing this sport to a new audience?
Outside sponsors, I think, is a big key. I think there's a lot of pressure on distributors in the industry to step up and sponsor people. We could, it'd be brilliant to say, Mercedes vans or whatever come in and sponsor a race series because they see how good live streams are doing and they see that it's targeting their audience.
So have you seen a difference? Is that partly why you guys want to get involved? 100%. Because we're now putting the live stream out?
Yeah, the numbers are brilliant. The numbers are fantastic and they're good for outside brands. And that's what we need, I think, more as well, is to get the money aspect back into the sport. And we can do that with hopefully from outside sponsors, as well as everyone who does their own bit now. But yeah, I think that would be a key thing, is to get a few more outside sponsors in.
Well, we'll try. Together we can on that. We've been on the blower. We've been on the phone back and forth so much for the last 2 weeks just to get to this stage. So look, really appreciate you coming in. I'm going to let you go because if you don't get back, somebody's going to eat your steak.
Chocolate cake.
Is it chocolate cake?
Yeah.
Scott, thanks for coming on. Really appreciate it. That's our first Live at 7 show. We're going to be doing this every round, 7 p.m. Up next, obviously, is Round at Landrake. To give you a little taster of what you're going to see tomorrow on MXN TV, we're just going to show you what it's all about. Join us tomorrow at 9:30 on our YouTube channel, MXN TV. Live, uninterrupted coverage throughout the day. We'll let you kick back and enjoy your evening now. We'll see you tomorrow.